talk a lot about diet culture and the damage it does, but if we want to leave it behind, one of the foundational practices that we need to develop is becoming an intuitive eater. Much like we were when we were children, that we've had taught out of us, and culture has taught us to not trust ourselves. So in their book, Intuitive Eating, this is one of the foundational books for learning these principles, they identify some styles of eating. If we want to have a healthy relationship with food, it's important to decide and see where we are. So let me share with you some of these styles of eating and see what fits for you. First eating style is a careful eater. The trigger for this kind of eating is health and fitness. And on the surface, this person appears to be a perfect eater, but they agonize over everything they put into their body and what is going to do to their body and what the nutritional value may or may not be. On the surface, it seems like this is just all about health and fitness. That's the careful eater. The second kind of eater is an unconscious eater. I think a lot of us can relate to this one. The trigger for this is you always need to be doing something else while you're eating. The person is often unaware of what he or she is eating or how much is being eaten because they're focused on something else. To sit down and simply eat is often viewed as a waste of time. Eating is usually paired with another activity to be productive. There are many subtypes of this. Have you ever felt yourself or heard someone say, "Oh, I just wish I didn't have to take time to eat. It's just too much of a bother"? That's an unconscious eater. They don't see the value in eating itself. They need to be doing something that's more productive in the meantime. The third kind of eating style is a chaotic unconscious eater. The trigger for this kind of eating is an overscheduled life. I'm sure nobody can relate to that one. This person's eating style is haphazard, gulp and go when food is available, seems to thrive on tension. And the American culture, I have to say, has really helped this one thrive. The Americans' contribution to the world cuisine is fast food. That's tailored to this kind of eating style, the chaotic unconscious eater. The next kind of eating style is refuse not unconscious eater. The trigger for this person is just the sheer presence of food. The characteristic is that it's especially vulnerable to candy jars or food present in meetings, sitting openly on the kitchen counter. How many times have you not even thought that you wanted a cookie until you saw one sitting on the plate on the kitchen counter? Or you never even considered that you might want a donut until you went into a meeting and there's an open box of donuts. That's the kind of food trigger that triggers the refuse not unconscious eater. You eat food because it's there. If it wasn't there, you wouldn't think about it. The next eating style is the waste not unconscious eater. This is the person who's triggered by free food. This is also a person who was taught you need to clean your plate. You can't waste that food. This person's eating drive is often influenced by the value of the food dollar, and it's susceptible to all-you-can-eat buffets and free food. Another contribution of American culture to the food industry is the all-you-can-eat buffet. The more, the better. Gigantic serving sizes. The more food you get for the less money, the better value that food is, and eat it all. The next eating style is the emotional unconscious eater. We hear so much about emotional eating these days. This eating style is triggered by uncomfortable emotions. No surprise. Stress or uncomfortable feelings trigger eating, especially when alone. Now, there can be some health to this. It's a coping mechanism that gets us through things, but the thing is to look and see, is it serving us? Is it not serving us? And all of these eating styles we may touch at various times. This is not that's the one that I am, but just various times. And the next one is a professional dieter. There are far too many people, particularly women, who fall into this category. And the trigger for them is just simply feeling fat. This person is perpetually dieting, often trying the latest commercial diet or diet book. They know about all the things, all the rules, and the food rules are so many with them because they've tried all the various diets. The last eating style is that of an intuitive eater. And the trigger for this person is biological hunger. Learning to listen to your hunger and fullness cues and to use food in ways that serve you both physically as well as mentally and then even emotionally as well. This person makes food choices without experiencing guilt. That might be a surprise to some people that you can eat without feeling guilty. Or an ethical dilemma. They honor their hunger, they respect their fullness, and they enjoy the pleasure of eating. Their diet rules and diet culture have trained a lot of these things out of us to be able to take pleasure with food, to be able to view it as simply a choice and not have good food and bad food. It's just food, and it has its purpose. So, which eating style resonates most with you most of the time? The careful eater, the unconscious eater, the chaotic unconscious eater, the refuse not unconscious eater, the waste not unconscious eater, the emotional unconscious eater, the professional dieter, or the intuitive eater. You can learn more at nourishingbodysoul.com.